She was 7 months pregnant, standing at the stove in her own kitchen, when Marcus walked through the door with another woman and said, "Fix us something to eat, Zara." He thought she was too powerless to retaliate, too defeated to be a threat. What Marcus didn't realize, what his mistress was about to discover in the most brutal way possible, was that the submissive wife he'd been tearing down for months was the only child of Kim Tae-won. And in her world, betrayal doesn't get second chances. It gets eliminated. Before we get into this revenge tale, if you're here for cheating husbands getting exactly what's coming to them, powerful women who hide in plain sight, and men who understand their fatal error far too late, go ahead and smash that like button. Drop a comment and tell me how you think this ends. And hit subscribe so you never miss these intense stories that'll have you yelling at your screen. Now let's get started. Her name was Zara Kim, and she'd made a catastrophic error in judgment. She'd fallen for a man who looked at her gentleness and confused it with frailty. 7 months earlier, she'd been entirely different. The daughter of Kim Tae-won, a name that made criminal organizations across 4 continents check their security twice. The heir trained in multiple combat disciplines since she was 5 years old. The woman who'd once shattered someone's collarbone for disrespecting her in public. Then she'd encountered Marcus Johnson at an art exhibition in Manhattan. American, magnetic, accomplished in real estate. He made her feel lighter. Made her believe she could exist as someone ordinary. Like perhaps she didn't need to shoulder her father's criminal empire indefinitely. So she'd left Seoul, abandoned the family compound, walked away from everything that defined her. "You're being foolish, little tiger," her father had cautioned the day she departed. "Men like him don't appreciate women like you. They want to break you down until you're manageable." She hadn't paid attention. She'd married Marcus 4 months later, conceived 3 months after the wedding, and observed the man she adored transform into someone unrecognizable. He began arriving home after midnight, started viewing her expanding stomach with revulsion rather than anticipation. Started addressing her like she was his employee, not his partner. Tonight, he'd brought the other woman to their home. Zara heard the front door, 2 distinct voices, his and someone female. When they entered the kitchen, she was stirring the same stew she'd perfected over recent months. The stew he'd suddenly started criticizing as overseasoned. The woman was stunning. Black cocktail dress, self-assured expression, the expression of someone who believed victory was already hers. "Zara," Marcus announced, barely glancing her direction. "This is Nicole. Make us something to eat." Not a question, an order. Nicole's gaze swept across Zara's rounded belly, her bare feet, her sauce-splattered apron. Sympathy blended with satisfaction. "Don't stress," she murmured to Marcus loud enough for Zara to catch every word. "You mentioned she's too passive to cause problems anyway." The baby moved forcefully against Zara's ribcage. And for the first time in 7 months, she felt her lips curve upward because they were completely unaware of who they were challenging. Marcus's palm landed on Zara's shoulder. Not tender, not affectionate, possessive, domineering. "Are you listening to me?" he demanded, his tone cutting. "We're starving. Stop standing there looking incompetent." Nicole laughed from where she'd settled onto Zara's sectional. The sectional Zara had selected. The sectional where Marcus and she had once discussed their dreams together. "She seems a bit dim," Nicole commented, inspecting her manicure. "Is this normal for her?" Zara's fingers tightened on the countertop. In her thoughts, she calculated the approaches she could take to finish this. 14 vulnerable points between her current position and the exit. 4 seconds to neutralize both of them. 6 seconds to ensure they regretted every syllable. But her father's lessons resonated stronger. Discipline equals strength. Impulse equals vulnerability. "I'll prepare dinner," Zara said softly, her voice controlled despite the fury building inside her. Marcus's expression hardened. "That's better. And Zara, don't make me look bad. Nicole matters to me." Matters. The word lingered in the space like venom. He'd never described Zara as mattering. Not while she carried his child. Not when she'd sacrificed everything for him. Not when she'd diminished herself, quieted herself, weakened herself, just so his ego could remain intact. They vanished into his home office. Through the walls, Zara detected their laughter. Heard Nicole say something that shifted Marcus's voice to that low, intimate register. Zara's phone vibrated once more. Her father's contact information. She stared at the screen, her finger suspended over the accept button. One call, that's what it would require. One call and Kim Tae-won's operatives would arrive within 30 minutes. One call and Marcus Johnson would vanish into the kind of void people never escape from. But she rejected the call because she'd promised herself that existence was finished. Even as the baby kicked again, more insistent this time, like her daughter was pleading with her to recall who she truly was. Zara chopped ingredients with accuracy born from years of blade training. Each cut flawless, each action measured. But her mind was accelerating because tonight something had fractured. Tonight, observing Nicole occupying her space, drinking from her glassware, sharing intimate moments with her husband, something had split open, not destroyed, not completely, but cracked. And through that opening, the daughter of Kim Tae-won was beginning to resurface. Preparing the meal consumed 90 minutes. Perfectly prepared sea base, roasted seasonal vegetables, the premium wine Marcus reserved for significant events, events that evidently now featured his mistress, but never his expecting wife. Zara arranged the dining room table, 3 complete settings. When she announced dinner was ready, they emerged from the office appearing disheveled. Nicole's lipstick was smeared. Marcus's shirt was creased. They weren't attempting concealment anymore. Smells acceptable, Nicole remarked, claiming Zara's seat. The chair positioned at the table's head, Zara's chair. Marcus sat adjacent to her. Didn't pull out Zara's seat. Didn't acknowledge her presence. Zara remained standing, 7 months pregnant, observing them consume food she'd created in a residence she'd furnished while they behaved as though she was hired staff. Zara, Marcus said between mouthfuls, avoiding eye contact. Nicole and I have been having discussions. The baby's arriving soon. We've decided you should relocate to the spare bedroom permanently. Zara's breathing faltered. The master suite is insufficient space, he continued, and truthfully, you're not particularly attractive in your current state. Nicole will be here more frequently for business purposes. Nicole touched his fingers, smiled at him, then regarded Zara. I trust that won't be an issue. Marcus explains you're remarkably accommodating. Accommodating. That's what they labeled it when you absorbed every insult. When you erased yourself. When you permitted them to dismantle you incrementally. Where will the baby stay? Zara asked, her voice almost inaudible. Marcus shrugged dismissively. Work it out. You're her mother. Something in Zara's chest constricted. Not pain. Not any longer. Fury. Pure, calculated, ice-cold fury. Her hand moved to her abdomen, to her daughter. And she felt the movement against her palm like her baby was communicating. Don't allow them to do this, Mama. Marcus, Zara said deliberately, each word intentional. I need to speak with you privately. He scoffed. Whatever you need to express, say it in front of Nicole. Please. Absolutely not. Nicole reclined in her chair, crossing her legs. Let her talk, sweetheart. I'm curious what the little housewife wants to say. Zara looked at her, truly observed her, the confidence, the cruelty, the absolute certainty of her triumph. And Zara understood something fundamental. Nicole had zero comprehension of what genuine power resembled. Zara lowered herself into a chair, not at the corner where they anticipated. In the position directly opposite Nicole. I understand what's happening here, Zara said, her voice steady. I know about you too. Marcus's jaw clenched. Zara, allow me to finish. Zara's eyes remained fixed on Nicole's. I know you believe I'm weak, that I'm merely some pregnant woman you can manipulate, that I have nowhere else to go. Nicole smirked. Well, don't you? The question suspended in the air, and that's when Zara's phone rang again. Her father's contact illuminated the screen where both could observe it. The name displayed, Kim Tae-won, father. Zara watched Marcus's face lose all color, watched recognition flash in his expression. He'd encountered that name previously. Everyone in business circles had, the kingpin who dominated half of Asia's underground economy. The man whose agreement was binding and whose silence meant termination. That's Marcus's voice fractured. That's not, you claimed your father worked in import trade. He does, Zara said calmly. He imports allegiance and exports retribution. Nicole laughed anxiously. She's lying. Look at her. She's nobody. But Marcus was staring at Zara now, genuinely seeing her for the first time in months. Zara, he said slowly, fear infiltrating his voice. What's your actual surname? Zara smiled. The smile her father had taught her. The smile that appeared moments before someone learned a lesson they'd never forget. Kim. Zara Kim, daughter of Kim Tae-won. The blood drained from Marcus's face completely. Nicole glanced between them, confused. What's happening? Who's Kim Tae-won? He's the man, Zara said quietly, who taught me that disrespect carries a price. Zara answered the call, activated the speaker function. Her father's voice filled the room, deep, commanding, the voice that made warlords negotiate terms. Little tiger, he said in Korean. You've finally answered. I was starting to think your husband required a reminder about how we address family concerns. Marcus stood so abruptly his chair toppled backward. Nicole's smirk evaporated. And Zara sat there, 7 months pregnant, watching them comprehend they'd been participating in a competition they never understood the rules to. I'm fine, father, Zara responded in Korean. Just having dinner with guests. Guests, his tone sharpened. The same guests who've been disrespecting my daughter for months. Silence descended. Father, Zara said carefully, switching to English now so they could comprehend. I can manage this. Can you? Kim Tae-won's voice was steel wrapped in velvet because my intelligence sources inform me your husband brought another woman into your residence. That he's relocated you to a guest room like your domestic help. That he's forgotten your identity. Marcus's face transitioned from pale to ashen. Sir, I wasn't aware, I didn't understand. You weren't aware. Her father's laugh was colder than Seoul in winter. You married my daughter and remained ignorant. Or you knew and assumed I'd never discover the truth. Before Marcus could respond, the doorbell chimed. 3 sharp rings. The sequence Zara had grown up recognizing, the sequence that signified family had arrived. Nicole's eyes widened. Who's that? Zara rose slowly, her hand on her belly. That would be my security personnel. The ones I instructed to remain inactive 7 months ago. The ones my father just redeployed. Through the window, Zara could observe 3 black SUVs. Men in dark suits. The category of men who didn't pose questions. They provided solutions. Marcus grabbed Zara's arm. Zara, wait. We can discuss this situation. Zara looked down at his hand gripping her arm, then up at his face. Remove your hand from me. He released her as if she'd burned him. Zara walked to the entrance, opened it. Jin-ho stood there, her father's second in command, the man who'd trained her since she was 7. His face was unreadable, but his eyes contained a question. Do you want them eliminated? Zara shook her head subtly. Not at this moment. Miss Kim, he said formally. Your father expressed concern. We came to verify your safety. Behind Zara, she heard Nicole whisper to Marcus, what the hell is happening? Marcus didn't respond. He was too occupied staring at Jin-ho's visible shoulder holster. I'm fine, Zara told Jin-ho. Just having a discussion with my husband about respect. Jin-ho's eyes moved past her, observed Nicole, observed the wine, observed how Marcus appeared terrified. Shall we remain? He asked. And that's when everything detonated. A vehicle screeched outside. Gunfire. 3 rapid shots that obliterated the front window. Jinho forced Zara to the floor, his body shielding hers and her belly. Stay down. Additional shots. Return fire from Zara's security personnel. Marcus and Nicole were screaming. Through the chaos, Zara heard her father's voice through the still-connected phone. Who's firing at my daughter? The gunfire ceased as rapidly as it commenced. Jinho assisted Zara up carefully, his hands gentle despite the violence he'd just enacted. Through the demolished window, Zara observed two bodies on the front lawn. Men in dark clothing, not her father's operatives. Rivals, Jinho said quietly. They must have tracked us. They knew if we were present, you were present. Zara's hands trembled, not from fear, but from adrenaline she hadn't experienced in months. The rush of survival, the clarity that accompanied danger. Marcus was hyperventilating in the corner. Nicole had crawled beneath the table. And Zara, she was standing in shattered glass, 7 months pregnant, feeling more vital than she had in 6 months. Zara, her father's voice cut through the chaos. Speak to me. Zara retrieved the phone. I'm okay. The baby's okay. This is precisely why I instructed you to maintain your security. This is why I said departing made you vulnerable. He was correct. Walking away from her world hadn't liberated her. It had simply made her a target without protection. Little tiger, her father said, his voice softening in a way only she ever heard. Come home. Bring my grandchild home where she'll be protected. Zara looked at Marcus, at this man she'd loved sufficiently to abandon everything for. He was still cowering, not even verifying if she was injured. Then she looked at her belly, at the daughter who deserved superior to a father who couldn't protect her, who deserved to know her grandfather's strength instead of her father's weakness. Zara, please, Marcus gasped. I apologize. I didn't know. If I'd known your identity, if you'd known my identity, Zara stepped toward him, glass crunching beneath her feet. So you only respect me because of my father? Not because I'm your wife? Not because I'm carrying your child? He couldn't formulate an answer. Nicole crawled out from beneath the table. Her black dress was ripped. Her makeup streaked down her face. I want to leave, she whimpered. Please, I just want to leave. Zara looked at her, this woman who'd assumed Zara was weak, who'd drunk from Zara's glassware and claimed Zara's seat and laughed about destroying Zara's home. You can leave, Zara said quietly. But understand something. You didn't win. You never had an opportunity because you were engaged in a battle against someone who hadn't even entered the arena yet. Jinho escorted Nicole out. She ran to her vehicle and didn't look back. Marcus and Zara stood in the devastation of their living room, and for the first time in months, he saw her. Truly saw her. Who are you? He whispered. Zara smiled sadly. I'm the woman you never deserved. Do you think Zara should forgive Marcus or make him pay the price? Drop a comment and don't forget to subscribe because this story is about to escalate. The following morning, Zara woke in her own bed, the master bedroom. Marcus had slept in his office. Zara packed slowly, methodically. Every designer garment she'd stopped wearing because he claimed they made her look like she was overcompensating. Every pair of heels she'd concealed because he preferred her shorter than him. Every piece of jewelry her father had gifted her that Marcus said was excessively ostentatious. She was reclaiming every fragment of herself she'd relinquished. Marcus appeared in the doorway. His eyes were bloodshot. He hadn't slept. Zara, we need to talk. No, Zara said calmly, folding a dress. We don't. I made a mistake. I didn't understand. You didn't understand I was Kim Tae-won's daughter, Zara interrupted. But you understood I was your wife. You understood I was pregnant with your child. And you still brought her into our home. You still degraded me. You still made me feel worthless. His face collapsed. I'll change. I promise I'll improve. Zara turned to face him completely. Marcus, you didn't fall out of love with me. You never loved me. You loved the concept of a quiet, compliant wife. And when I provided exactly that, you despised me for it. That's not accurate. It is. Zara placed her hand on her belly. And I won't permit my daughter to grow up observing her mother being disrespected. I won't teach her that love means diminishing yourself. That's not the legacy I want to leave her. Marcus's voice broke. So that's it? You're just leaving? No, Zara stepped closer. I'm not leaving. You are. His eyes widened. This is my house. Is it? Zara pulled out her phone, displayed documents her father's attorneys had prepared overnight. Because according to these documents, this house was purchased with funds from a shell corporation. My father's shell corporation. The car you drive, my father's wedding gift. Your business expansion, funded by investors my father connected you with. The color drained from his face again. Everything you believe you built, Zara said softly, was constructed on my family's foundation, and now it's collapsing. You can't do this, he whispered. I already have. He grabbed Zara's shoulders, not gently, desperately. You're going to destroy me after everything. And that's when her training activated. Zara twisted out of his grip. Her hand shot to his wrist. One precise motion, and he was on his knees, gasping in pain. Don't touch me again. Zara released him. He fell backward, cradling his wrist. I'm not destroying you, Marcus. I'm just removing my protection. What happens next is entirely your responsibility. Zara relocated to Seoul 4 days later. Her father's compound welcomed her home as if she'd never departed. The gardens she'd explored as a child. The training facility where she'd learned to fight. The room that had always been hers, now prepared for her and her daughter. Jin-ho assisted Zara with unpacking. Your father wants to see you when you're settled. Zara found Kim Tae-won in his study. He stood when she entered, and for the first time in months, she felt secure. Little tiger, he opened his arms. Zara collapsed into them, 8 months pregnant, crying for the first time since everything happened. I was so foolish, Zara sobbed. You warned me and I ignored you. You weren't foolish, he stroked her hair. You were hopeful. There's a distinction. Hope isn't weakness. It's bravery. He made me feel so insignificant. Because insignificant men require insignificant women to feel substantial. Her father pulled back, cupped her face. But you were never insignificant, my daughter. You were just kind. And kindness in our world is rare, precious. Zara wiped her tears. What happens to him now? Kim Tae-won's eyes hardened. What do you want to happen? Zara considered it. About Marcus, about Nicole, about the humiliation, the pain, the months of feeling worthless. I want him to lose everything the way he made me feel I'd lost everything. I want him to understand what it's like to be powerless. Her father nodded slowly. Consider it done. But I don't want him dead. Zara placed her hand on her belly. He's still her father biologically. And perhaps one day when she's older and asks about him, I want to be able to say I took the honorable path. The honorable path, Kim Tae-won smiled, doesn't mean letting him walk away. It means letting him live with the consequences. Within 10 days, Marcus's business collapsed. His investors, all connected to Zara's father, withdrew. His reputation, built on connections her family provided, crumbled. His assets, tied to shell corporations, were seized. He called Zara 19 times. She answered once. How could you do this to me? He screamed. I didn't do anything, Zara said calmly. I just stopped doing everything for you. Turns out without me, you're nothing. Zara disconnected. Nicole attempted to contact Zara too, a lengthy email about how remorseful she was, how she didn't know, how she was just trying to survive. Zara deleted it without reading past the opening sentence, because some apologies aren't about making amends. They're about alleviating their own guilt. Zara gave birth to her daughter on a spring morning in Seoul. Cherry blossoms drifting past the window. Her father holding her hand. She named her Arya because her cry was the most beautiful sound Zara had ever heard. And because she represented freedom, Zara's freedom, Arya's freedom, the freedom to be powerful without apology. 6 months later, Zara stood in her father's training facility, Arya sleeping in a nearby bassinet, instructing a class of women. Not just any women. Women who'd been broken by men who thought kindness was weakness. Women who'd been told they were too gentle to matter. Women who needed to remember their power. Strength, Zara told them, demonstrating a strike, isn't about being cruel. It's about having the power to destroy and choosing not to. That's genuine control. After class, Jinho approached Zara. "There's someone here to see you." Zara's heart stuttered. "If it's Marcus, it's not." Zara found a man in the reception area, tall, kind eyes, a physician based on the hospital identification clipped to his coat. "Miss Kim," he bowed respectfully. "My name is Dr. David Park. I treated some of your students at the women's shelter. They told me about your classes, about what you're building here." Zara studied him carefully. "And," he continued, "I run a clinic for domestic violence survivors. I was wondering if you'd be interested in partnering, teaching self-defense, showing women they're not helpless." Something in Zara's chest loosened. This man saw her work, not her surname. Saw her strength, not her father's shadow. "I'd like that," Zara said. He smiled. It was genuine, warm. "Also," he added, glancing at Arya, "I have to say, that's the most beautiful baby I've ever seen." "She is, isn't she?" Zara picked up her daughter. "She's going to change the world." "I believe it." He hesitated. "Would you like to get coffee sometime to discuss the partnership?" Zara looked at him, really looked, at the respect in his eyes. The way he'd asked, not demanded. The way he saw her as whole, not broken. "I'd like that too." As he left, her father appeared beside her. "He seems kind," Kim Tae-won observed. "He does. And respectful." "Yes." Her father smiled. "Good. That's how it should be. A man who sees a queen and treats her like one." Zara looked down at Arya, at her perfect face, at the future she was building for her. A future where she'd know her worth from day one. Where she'd never make herself small for anyone. Where she'd understand that love shouldn't cost you your power. It should multiply it. Marcus had sent one final message last week, a simple text. "I'm sorry." Zara hadn't responded because some chapters close quietly. Not with explosions or revenge or dramatic confrontations. Just with a woman, her daughter, and the knowledge that she'd survived. More than survived, she'd reclaimed every piece of herself she'd lost and rebuilt something even stronger. She was Zara Kim, daughter of Kim Tae-won, mother of Arya, teacher, fighter, survivor. And for the first time in a year, she was exactly who she was supposed to be. Not despite her power, because of it. If this story touched you, if it reminded you that you're stronger than anyone who tried to break you, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Atlanta, Paris, Johannesburg, Seoul, because this family stretches across the world and your voice matters. Every time you subscribe, comment, and share, you're helping us tell stories of strength, survival, and second chances to people who need them most. So subscribe, turn on that bell, and remember, the quietest person in the room might just be the one who changes everything. Thank you, family.